Perfect. So, I think Arjun would love to kind of, since a lot of folks are starting here, are starting investing for the first time, right? So, are keen about understanding more about angel investing. So, maybe would love to kind of begin by knowing a little bit about your personal investment, journey, right? Like how many investments have you done so far? Like, since when have you been investing? Maybe you can share three, four of your top investments till date, and also, like, what's the inspiration behind angel investing, personally for you?
Yeah, I'm also going to try to be very honest. So I'm not going to paint just the rosy picture as well. I'm going to be very honest of the process to be able to do something like this, right? So let's start by uh, how long I've been doing this, and I've not been doing this for very long. My oldest investment is about 2.5 years old now. Um, so I'm new to the game, as you guys are. Uh, why is my oldest investment 2.5 years, even though I've been back in India for 10 years, in the startup ecosystem for 7 or 8 years? Uh, I'm not a good multitasker. And so while I was a founder, I made zero investments. Zero. Not even one. There are some founders who are able to multitask, who are able to give this time, etc. But I didn't do it for two reasons. One, I said I'm not a good multitasker. Two, when I was a founder, my biggest bet was Dr. Vaidya's. And it gave my family a 50x return in 4.5 years. So I didn't believe that I should be spending a lot of time investing as I was building my business. There are both schools of thought. This was my school of thought given my personality. So I made zero investments. Why did I start doing it? Honestly, Karan, we at 29 were able to sell our company and make an outcome that we could retire with. Now, I'm not someone who has a crazy lifestyle. I shared this publicly on social media. My life didn't change after I exited my business. I still fly economy class, and I'm not going to change that. We made our fund change the rule for my team because our fund has a rule that if it's a flight more than 4.5 hours, you have to fly business class. We changed the rule for our V3 India team to go for our offsite to Europe last year because I said we will fly economy. We'll save money for the fund. So my life hasn't changed as such, but we made an outcome that allowed us, if we liked to retire, and by the way, I'm far from retired, but if we liked, we could have lived off the interest. And so we pledged 10% of what we made from the exit of Dr. Vaidya's back to the startup ecosystem. Why? Because it had given me a life-changing outcome, both from a growth, personality, and personal development perspective. I ran a startup from the age of 24 and a half to 29, and I became the person I was. My wife became the person she was. We got married while building the company. So a lot of that had an important impact on us. And then I think I was completely free in life, honestly, in the summer of 2021. And so I said, hey, if I'm completely free in life right now, what's the best thing I can do? I can help founders. And so I started giving my time to founders like Karan, you are doing a lot of now as well. But you're not free like I was in life.
No, but
Uh,
I'm inspired by you completely.
so I started meeting people, was able to add value to some of these people. Some of them wanted capital, they were smart. So I started investing with them, and that's led to the angel investment journey. In terms of number, I have more than 100 investments.
Wow.
But my view is actually from a fund perspective, I make concentrated bets. So in V3, we have made 6 investments. We're in the process of making 5 investments. Those are large concentrated bets. But from an angel perspective, I don't write big checks. So my checks are 5 to 20 lakh rupees, but more in the 5 to 15 lakh rupee range from the angel sort of perspective. The idea is actually when I was building my business, I didn't have access to angels like me. And so, can I be that person who I didn't have? That's the reason to invest. So, I'll be honest. A lot of people say, and you'll read in social media, etc., that people are angel investing to build the ecosystem and people are angel investing to help founders. And I do believe in that. But I want to make one point very clear to all of you. This money you're investing is your hard earned money.
Yeah.
Every investment that you make has to be evaluated as an individual investment. No charity, no help someone who's in need, and no invest because Karan is investing and Karan is famous, so I want to follow Karan and invest with him. No. Karan may be investing because that person was his colleague. Karan may be investing because he missed a deal that was a competitor of that business and is feeling FOMO. Invest basis your conviction, invest basis your knowledge, and do not invest because you're helping someone in need. If you do that, have a separate bucket for charity. In my life, for example, I invest 15 lakh rupees a year to this place called Inspire Institute of Sport. It is a sports development facility for Olympic athletes developed by JSW. They have trained, that's the same sport that Neeraj Chopra has trained, Bajrang Punia has trained, Sakshi Malik has trained, and many of our Asian Games medalists. I think like 20 of the 100 Asian Games medals came from 100 plus Asian Games medals came from IS. I'm very passionate about sport. So I have given since 2021 15 lakhs a year till the Paris Olympics, which is this summer, for 2 athletes training and stay. This is not going to make me any money. Maybe those athletes will not win us a medal, but that's my charity. That's my CSR. I'm passionate about sport. My investment in sport is in different kinds of businesses. My investment in sport is in a business that does sports personal care products. My investment in sport is in a business that does sports streaming for amateur leagues. That and investing in JSW's facility as charity is two very different things and cannot be compared at all. Also, if my charity did not win any investments, I'm fine with that because that ROI is different in my eyes. So very important to completely separate an investment versus a sort of capital infusion for altruistic purposes. I think Karan, that answered all the 3 questions. Our best performing investments. Look, I have many companies that I like. I'll just talk about a few of them. There's One Impression, good friend, and largest company in the influencer marketing space. There is GoQuick, which is now the largest e-commerce enabler in India. I really like Jimmy's Cocktails, a cocktail mixer brand I've invested in. Perfora is leading in the oral care space. Indus Valley is now doing more than 100 CR in the sort of cooking or healthier cooking space. There is Conclo in the marketing automation space, which is doing very well, gone to the US now and scaling very nicely. I was in MyFitness Peanut Butter, which is the largest peanut butter company in the country. We exited that business. I was in
Mensa, right?
They got sold to Mensa. Just exited a business called Anveya, which I entered at 60 lakhs a month. They're doing 8 crore a month now. They just sold the business. The leading brand there in their house of brands is called Thrive. So they're doing very, very well. Also, I invested in a business called Better Alt. Better Alt was a business that was taking Indian superfoods to the world, and now they are taking sort of Indian products to the world. They're using TikTok very well in the US. They now do more than $1 million a month in sales. We exited that business as well recently. Those are from a personal capacity. I have many more, but from the fund, I'm very excited about some companies I've talked publicly about. Dill Foods, very exciting. New age supply chain cloud kitchen business. So cloud kitchens without owning the kitchen infrastructure. Great founder, went from 0 to 5 CR a month with almost no capital raised. You can read about her on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. Very famous Shark Tank pitch as well. Recently, Karan hosted Pranjay, the founder of Cream Castle. Again, very Dill Foods type model, central kitchen, spoke kitchen type model. And we'll announce the investment next week, but we've just put 5.5 crores in a seed round. We've done a company called Cuckoo FM, very famous company, largest vernacular content platform. They are now a Series C company. I helped them get their Series C. Company's worth more than $225 million. I invested at $40 million value 2 years ago. I see Bhavesh's question as well on what's your portfolio IRR. You want to break it up by cohort, investment size, whichever way you feel should understand IRR. Look, Bhavesh, I think the biggest problem with VCs, angel investors, all of us is you start benchmarking this IRR and it starts looking like 50-60%. But it's all on paper, right?
Not liquid for a long time.
Invested, my first angel investment was in a company called Bellora. In 6 months, the company was 12x on the books. Today, the company doesn't exist. It's an NCLT, it's shutting down. I don't actually track the IRR so much because I believe in cash in, cash out. So I put in so much money. On this date, I got so much money out. Because if you see all these funds and their decks and all these VC funds, they're all tracking at 30-40% IRR. They're all tracking at this MOIC, which is multiple on invested capital of 3x and 4x. But if you look at the most important metric, it's DPI, which is the amount distributed. In 5-7 years, most of them are still sitting at 1x DPI, which means you invested 1 rupee. 5 years later, they gave you back 1 rupee. Everything else is on paper. So I don't really track the IRR on illiquid assets. I don't think it's the right way to look at it. But yeah, if you look at my paper IRR, it must be 40-50%, right? Because my investments are only 2.5 years old. But that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very important concept, because angel investments by its nature is a non-liquid investment type, right? Like maybe you will get an exit after 5 years, 7 years. If you're lucky, maybe like in a few of cases, you might see an exit after 2-3 years, but that's a very one-off scenario. Normally, like
also, I think current 2-3 years में multiple नहीं बनता है.
correct.
My fitness में, Anvera में, we made 3 times our money.
Yeah.
You will not be able to exit all your assets. So the ones you exit, you should make 10 times.
Yeah.
So that you can sort of average out the rest. But we didn't make so much money because we exited in 2 years.
Yeah. No, makes sense. I think Kaushal had a question. Kaushal, go ahead.
Hi, Arjun.
The chief.
So, Kaushal here. So, I have a small startup called Perceptionist Solutions. So, my question is, you said you invested in so many ventures. What is the channel you get these leads from?
Interesting question.
I'm sorry, I'll just put my camera off. My net is a little dicey.
Yeah, look, interesting question. I will sort of start by saying how I started, right? So I started in summer of 21. I didn't know anybody because I wasn't investing. I had raised from a strategic and sold my business to them. So I was not in touch with VCs as well. And pretty much I knew a few people. And so I just reached out to them and stuff like that. And I realized that this is a game of information asymmetry. The deals that Karan sees, all of you guys don't see. And if I want to excel at this game, I got to become not just like acquaintances with Karan, genuinely friends with Karan. How do I become friends with Karan? I add value to Karan in some way. He adds value to me. But I don't call up Karan and say, hey, I heard you're a good angel investor. Give me your deals. I get calls like this all the time. I don't give anybody my deals. Like I'm not here to be your free deal flow, right? So I think you gotta understand that, and I'm not sort of saying anything bad about angel networks, etc. All of that. That's a great way to start. But if a deal is coming to a completely democratic public angel network, assume that all the VCs have seen it, and all the top angels have seen it, and all the top angels in those angel networks have seen it, and then it's come to you. Now, can some of these hit a lot of money? Yes. Will all of them hit? No. Because that's the lower quality of deal flow that you're getting access to. So the way to build this, honestly, and I remember 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago when Karan was starting his journey, he reached out to me and he said, I just want to talk to you. You don't have to give me anything. Just let's keep talking once a month, etc. All of that, and genuinely build relationships. So there are people who are 5 years, 10 years senior to you in this industry. You got to be open, humble, and say, look, I'm just starting off. And 2.5 years ago, I just started off. Today, I cannot even go through my deal flow. That's maybe a good thing or bad thing, but I get it directly. I don't need anyone to give me deal flow. Another thing that's really helped me actually is being open about where I want to invest. So we're investing confidentially. Actually, I won't share the name of the company because we have not made the investment, but I'm investing in a sneakers business. Karan knows which business this is. It's a sneakers business that does sneakers between the 1,000 to 2,000 rupee range. I publicly shared I want to invest in a mass premium sneakers business that gives Nike, Adidas, New Balance type sneakers or looking sneakers, but at 1,000 to 2,000 rupee price point because that's what the youth of India can afford. 10 brands reached out to me. One of the brands was this brand. I like the business. I'm investing in the business, putting 6 CR from the fund in the business.
Nice.
And I
Arjun,
shared about this on LinkedIn very recently. So, social media and content is now the new age media. Uh, I put a post about Dil Foods and why I invested in the business after their Shark Tank pitch. That post got some 750,000 views now.
Hmm.
The Shark Tank pitch of Dil Foods has 2.5 million views. I can guarantee you an article in Live Mint will not even have 50,000 readers.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
True.
using this effectively is very powerful.
Correct.
Arjun, just building on your thought, right? Like, I think, like you mentioned that you publicly share your investment thesis, right? So, like, and like you also shared initially that don't be driven by FOMO. Don't look at what other people are investing and then follow them because they might have a different reason for investing, right? So, how important is this to have your own investment thesis, and like maybe how can some like people like us, build our investment thesis? Like, what is yours from an angel perspective, and how can somebody like build theirs?
Yeah, so Karan, I think I said don't be driven by doing a deal in FOMO, but for sure follow people who share their investment. So if I share my consumer investment thesis, I would consider myself reasonably knowledgeable in consumer, not in other space, but in consumer. Absolutely break down my thesis, see it, understand it, put it to work, speak to people about it. Yes, read that thesis, but just because I am doing a deal, and it's like a lot of people say, Arjun, if you're doing a deal in consumer, you must be really smart about it. Just take my money. No, no. If I'm doing a deal in SaaS, I have 10 people I talk to in SaaS. Just because they are doing a deal, I won't 100% do the deal. Yes, the chance of me doing the deal will be higher because I respect those people. And you have to figure out who those people are that you respect. I'm not saying I'm the right answer. I may not be the right answer. You make your independent judgment of whether Arjun Vaidya is actually smart or not. And it's okay to say he's not smart even if the world says he's smart.
Got it. And just for us, like what's your investment thesis?
It's too broad a question, I would say. And when you guys make your investment thesis as well, you have to drill down on areas and where you see gaps, right? So broadly, where I like to invest, I'm a consumer entrepreneur. I want to invest in consumer brands, platforms, enablers, and ecosystem. That's I would say from the fund 100% of my portfolio. From my personal perspective, 60% of my portfolio. In my personal portfolio, I have de-risk. I've invested in edtech, fintech, AI, space tech, SaaS, B2B and B2C, agri-tech. So I've invested across spaces, but in the fund, I only invest in consumer.
Got it.
The thesis in consumer is India is a brand-starved nation that has the largest middle class, the young middle class in the world. That is premiumizing. Our GDP per capita is increasing slowly, but increasing. And these customers will spend more discretionary. It was 60% spend on food. It's now 48% spend on food. That's still a massive number in terms of household expenditure. But that number is coming down and discretionary is increasing. And so brands will be built over the next decade in India. That's my broad thesis. It's too broad. In each aspect and each space, I have a sort of specific thesis, whether it's energy drinks and what price point, coffee and what price point, religious tech and spirituality and how that will play out, sneakers and how it will work out, travel and how that space is changing. So each of these spaces have an individualized thesis, but that's how I do thesis. I see a bunch of hands raised questions. Maybe you can pick it up.
Yeah, Kashish, go ahead.
Hi Arjun. This is Kashish. I run a technology company, Arjun. And my question is that so far, been investing quite a lot into real estate, mutual funds, stocks, probably into angel investing quite a new. And I've been talking to Karan also. What's your tips and advices for people like me? I mean, where should we start? I mean, I think you answered quite a bit of it in a previous question, but then, I mean, like I said, deal is one part of it where you can kind of get a deal flow. But then, what's your advice for early age investors like us? While we understand the money flow investment in other spaces, but then into this space, how do we start and where do we start taking things from?
Yeah, so one, it should be 10% or less of your entire portfolio. I have it higher, but I believe in this space and I've made a lot of money from this space, right? For you, it should be 10% or less of your portfolio. You should earmark a sum. let's say 10 lakh rupees, to your mark 10 lakh rupees. That 10 lakh rupees can't go to one company. That 10 lakh rupees has to go to 10 companies. Because even though you may think Arjun Vaidya is the best founder in the world and he's starting a business and he has a 100% chance of success, it's not a 100% chance of success. Market, factors, competition, funding, all of those things matter. And so you have to de-risk yourself as well. So those are two pieces of advice I would give you.
Right. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you.
Vijay, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Arjun. Thank you for this. I had a follow-up question to what Kashish asked. That when is there any material or any source that you would recommend us to consume while we're evaluating different brands? Because effectively, the $1 million question is, like you said, there is limited amount of capital that I can invest across a couple of companies. Like you started 2.5 years ago, I'm sure you would have done some reading or maybe talking to people or something. Do you have anything that is more freely available that we can, as commoners, look at?
What would be a good resource like this, Karan? I actually didn't follow so much theory.
Yeah.
I believe for me, it was more like I've done this before. And so at least consumer businesses and enablers, I can evaluate basis my knowledge. And then from there, I started learning about other categories and investing. So I didn't follow a playbook. I didn't read some books or something like that as much as I relied on my own intuition. But I appreciate that like everyone has not run a D2C brand.
Abhijit, I'll tell you what worked for me, right? So, so I think one thing that has really worked for me is following some of the, top investors, angel investors in a particular category, like looking, and almost like stalking some of them on LinkedIn, right? So, for example, if that's Arjun, right? What is the founder, like if he's liking a founder's post, right? And maybe that founder is raising, like, can I then go out and speak to that founder, understand, what he's building, right? If he's doing a particular thesis, then why he's doing that, going deep. So like making a list of 15, 20 top angel investors, right? Like who are actively investing, who I aspire to be like, and then essentially kind of following them religiously. Like following them on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, looking at the investment thesis, kind of reaching out to the brands that they are investing in. And then, eventually once you do a couple of deals, you become a part of the circle, right? So you start getting those deal flows, from those investors. And, I think the best way to learn about angel investing is to write a check, right? Like the first check you'll write, you'll understand a lot of things, what scale, what worked and all. And then, maybe go from there. So from a resource perspective, like from a book perspective, even I don't follow anything. I've been a founder myself. I kind of rely on my intuition, but I look at expanding my network, and following folks who I really like to kind of build my thesis.
Got it. So it's your experience and maybe first principles thinking of what the founder is doing, and then like also emulating what like seasoned angel investors are also doing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Shini, you want to go ahead? Or maybe Arjun, I can ask the next question. So like one thing that I think a lot of folks, I think here alluded to as well, is that, like, so let's say if you're investing in the consumer space today, right? Like it's not very difficult to start a consumer brand. Like we have a lot of enablers, like performance marketing. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I was shouting on mute.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Srini. I live in the US. So my question is, is there an inherent bias in the way people are investing in terms of founders being from premium institutes, or has it subsided? I mean, there's a deluge of founders from tier 2 towns, rural areas, so on and so forth. So do you think there's still a bias?
Yeah, great question. I'm not an MBA and I'm the least qualified person in my organization, but I run the fund. So I don't have this bias. I care, and I'm just alluding to the question in the chat box from Kaushik.
Yeah, Kaushik.
The chief, right? Yeah, okay. So Kaushik's question as well. I care most about relevant experience. Sorry, Kaushal. I care most about relevant experience and right to win rather than institution. Yes, premium institutions, premium jobs give you some amount of rigor that helps, but that's not my be all and end all. I invest heavily in tier 2, tier 3 economy. I travel to at least 15 tier 2 cities every year, speak at events, help try to build the ecosystem, whether it's Surat, you can't call Ahmedabad a tier 2, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Kochi. I have a fund investment in Kochi. I've gone to Jhansi, Calicut, Guwahati. So I spend a lot of time in this ecosystem. And yeah, Kaushal, we have invested right now in a hospitality business that has 6 hotels in Goa. So I'll be coming to Goa soon as well.
Okay,
I think
because
you,
I'm asking because if the founder
See,
is say
was
from an
that
IIT,
bias? There was that bias. There are still people who invest in that way. I see it reducing, but it's not gone. If you want a sort of straight answer to your question.
okay, because I see steep valuations the moment guys from IIT. So thank you so much.
Going away though, going away, but it won't be gone, and there will still be people who do that. Like I met a fund in Singapore that only invests in people leaving McKinsey to start up. Those things will still exist.
Arjun, maybe adding to this, in your investments, like the ones which have been very successful, like what have been some traits of successful founders that you have seen, right? Like maybe starting a consumer brand is becoming democratized today. Like it's not very difficult. You can go to like 3-5 crore revenue very easily, right? So then, like how do you identify the winners? Like how do you identify those companies which have the potential to become 100, 150, 200 crores? What are some traits in those founders that you have seen, that have built large consumer brands?
I would say 3 things. One, right to win in that space. Some unfair knowledge or some unfair access, whether it's manufacturing, product knowledge, category knowledge, marketing knowledge in that space. Second is grit, back against the wall, right? Like I met Aditya from Pital on a call, and I said, I'm investing in this kid. I don't care that brass utensils at an expensive price point are a small TAM. This kid is just too good. And so he struggled to raise his first round.
Yeah.
Nobody was investing, and I said, use my name. It's okay. Just say Arjun Vaidya is investing and see you will get some money. Eventually, he struggled, then got oversubscribed, as it happens in all circumstances. The guy had just amazing grit, resilience, and the ambition to get it done in any circumstance, right? And every founder will have their back against the wall. So that's the second thing. And the third thing in consumer is some early traction. You can read this early traction, right? Like you guys had the Moxie founder as well on one of your sessions. There is early traction in that business.
Yeah. So I think right to win, leverage in our category, like investing in founders who are have a lot of great resilience, ambition, and then maybe some early traction in terms of revenue, CM2 profitability, repeats, and maybe growing on platforms. Got it. I think one thing that I maybe also love to talk about is how does one build their personal brand, right? Like I can see that you do a lot of content on YouTube, on Instagram, on not on YouTube. Maybe like you used to run your podcast earlier, but you're very active on Instagram and LinkedIn, right? So how important is that? How does one get started on building their personal brand? Like what are some things that they can do to kind of start being active on these platforms?
See, now it's been a while for me, but I would say the first thing you can do if you want to be an investor is start using LinkedIn. It's the most powerful platform. I sold my company from a lead that came through LinkedIn.
Wow.
I set this fund from a lead that came through LinkedIn. It's a crazy platform. Write once a week on LinkedIn and take it from there.
Interesting.
Arjun, Kaushal here again.
Go ahead,
One
Kaushal.
question: in all the investments, founder salary or salaries, any point on that?
Yeah, I would say initially what you need to live your life. I'm completely against people not taking salary and building a good company, but then not having money to pay for their rent or their basic expenses. So basic-ish, our rule of thumb was 33% of what we were making in our corporate jobs. So when I left my corporate job, I took a 67% pay cut. So did my wife. That's another way to do it. But just Like, look, a founder is putting in effort also. At least, look, they shouldn't have some fancy salary. They're doing 10 lakhs a month. They should not be taking 3 lakhs home a month. But 50,000, 1 lakh a month, like that's basic to live life in a
That's a
city.
part of the use of funds in whatever funds you are investing, right?
Yeah. I get scared of high salaries, but I think it's wrong to not give anything.
Okay.
And definitely a founder who's negotiating hard on their salary is not understanding or caring about their value of equity. So that's a red flag.
Okay. So just like the basic, like what is needed based on the general perception.
I'll give you an example, right? I used to earn whatever salary I used to earn. Let's assume I used to earn first, I think it was 1.5 lakhs a month. And then when I raised my Series A, it went to like 2.5 or 3 lakhs a month. Over 5 years, if you take a 2 lakh average per month, then that's 24 lakhs a year. Into 5 years, it's 1.2 crore,
Yes.
right? In salary. When I sold the company, as a family, we made more than 100 CR.
Absolutely.
So now what's the value? Like, did that 1.2 becoming 1.5 or 1.75 change my life? No, it won't, as this would, right?
Correct. Thanks.
Arjun, when you're evaluating a business as an angel versus a fund, like do you evaluate it differently? Like, I mean,
Yes.
like expecting a bigger outcome when you're investing on a fund versus as an angel?
Two things that are different. One, you can't punt as a fund. You can't just say, could be amazing, 5 lakh dal ke dekh lenge kya hoga. You can't do that because you're concentrated bets. I've done that multiple times from my angel portfolio. Some have worked out, some have not, but you can't punt, especially in a consumer fund. And second, you have to have deep levels of conviction as opposed to sort of okay levels of conviction.
And how do you build that?
You got to, like, I can't share, but I write a 20-page memo on every investment that I make from the fund, right? And that includes what's the business, who's the founder, what's their background, what's the market size, how is the market moving, how is the business moving, what's the traction. I build out the next 3-year P&L for the business, and I build out, if I put so much now, I'll exit with so much. This person will possibly buy the business. These are the risks in the business. This is why we mitigate it. This is why we want to invest in the business. This is our investment thesis. And then what is the team, etc., and what's the scope for scale, and we rate the business, etc. As an angel, you don't do all of that. एक दो call करके फिर 2-3 लोग के साथ बात करके close करते हो आप.
Yeah. So I have been doing this as an angel. So like I've done, like I have about 150 memos, out of which I've invested in about 45 companies till now, right? And essentially, like I refer back to them on why I invested in a particular company or why I passed on a particular company. Like, and I think that was again, one thing that really helped me build my thesis, my conviction, why I'm investing, and then maybe refer back. Like, I mean, everybody has some anti-portfolio, right? Like some companies which they didn't invest in became large, right? So you can always refer back to your investment memos. It's not as detailed as what you do, like from a fund, like not a 20-pager, but like a 1-2 pager, to kind of refer back to is something that has like really, worked for me. I think Vikas, you have a question. Vikas wants to know: do you invest in pre-revenue startups?
Yes. I don't like to, but occasionally I do.
Yeah, Vikas, does that answer your question? You want to like any follow-ups?
No, I think that suffice it. But actually, what is my experience in the last 1 year that we have spoken to a couple of investors, and everyone is like, how much you are earning as of now. We will definitely invest, but we don't want to be the first one. Let others invest, then definitely we will also invest. So
But
this
that's
is
angels, right? Angels, I respect when angels say that. When funds say that, then they don't have enough conviction. But when angels say that, it makes sense, yeah. Because
yeah,
5 लाख डाल रहा हूँ, 2 करोड़ का राउंड है, तो फिर मैं कैसे कमिट करूँ? मुझे वैल्यूएशन भी नहीं पता है कंपनी का.
true. Thanks.
Arjun, has an angel, especially in the consumer space, like, like if I have to just like start building my network and start, getting to know more very, very active angels, like who invest in the space, like who are like some folks that, maybe like you can recommend that I should follow, or maybe I can start speaking to?
Yeah, I can share, like I invest or respect a lot Mohit Sadani from Momsco. He's an ex-founder also. I respect a lot Suhail Sameer. He's just about to set up a fund. He made the first investment in Dr. Vaidya's. Existing founders, Shashank from Whole Truth, Chakri from Country Delight, then funds wise, DSG, Fireside, Sama, Source VC, all of these folks as well. I follow what they're saying.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Great, guys. Any other questions you may have? Virat, go ahead.
We had a brief on, it's good that you shared about Petal. I had a message to you personally on Petal. It's very interesting to see that initially they didn't got the funds. So I just wanted to know that how as an investor you make like part of, because I consider Petal very hot deal. Like once it was out in the media, it was already backed by some 20-30 marquee founders like you, and then they went on Shark Tank and again it got a boost. So if it comes now, it will obviously at a higher valuation. So how you be part of that? I don't know how to get the good deal flow. Like I consider it's interesting you say that they didn't got it initially.
Okay. I think if you commit early to these companies, then you will get in. If after 20 D2C founders have committed and you're not a D2C founder or someone the founder thinks can add a lot of value, it may be hard to get in. So two things I would do. One, I would start building my network as well as expertise as a thought leader in the space. You don't have to be a founder, but definitely when the founder says, who are you? And I don't know you, either you have to have a track record or you have to have some writing or some thesis. Like easiest thing for me was I was on a call with a toys founder the other day and he's like, yeah, I've spoken to so many funds and none of them seem to, they like my numbers, but they don't care about the space. I said, hey, let me share you an Instagram reel that I put up 3 months back or 4 months back, talking about my thesis in the toy space. If you can do that to the founder of Petal, then he'll be like, oh, wow, okay, this is someone who I want to talk to. Second, you have to demonstrate value add if you want to push your way into a round. I think these two things will help you.
Yeah.
But it takes effort. It's not like, अच्छा deal आया और मुझे अंदर जाना है. पहले काम करना होगा.
Yeah.
And any like other opportunities to like part of the like you recommend some like how you improve that deal flow things. Of course, one is you mentioned actively, but like if you're doing it not very actively, then
you will get non-active deal flow
from the networks.
Like if you want to piggyback on people, that's also okay. But you'll never get my deal flow if you piggyback off people.
So it comes at a later stage then.
You have to put effort. It's not about later stage. I got my deal flow within 1 year, but I put the effort for that 1 year.
Thank you.
I think also in today's world, capital has become kind of commoditized, right? Like good founders will always attract capital, right? So like for me, when I was starting out, I had to pitch myself to the founder to take my capital, because I was not investing a large amount, as Arjun said, like 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs in a particular company. And like I remember the Petal investment again, I was part of the first round, so I had to like really pitch myself that hey, I'm at Instagram, I can help you reduce your CAC and I can help you, grow our content. So, and I've been a founder, right? So like, I think find your value like that you can offer to the founder and then essentially develop that expertise and kind of offer that along with capital, right? So is something that I think good founders really respect. Abhijit, go ahead.
Actually, from what you mentioned right now, what I was thinking of is when you say capital is commoditized right now, there's a lot of people are offering money. For people who are like me, who are just entering the stage of angel investment, I don't think I can cut a check for more than 5 lakh rupees. And if you ask me, it'll be much smaller in all honesty. So
Yeah.
would you say a good quality founder will even be interested in talking to me? Like 1 lakh, 2 lakhs is like, he'll be like, why are you wasting my time?
Karan writes
That 1 lakh as well.
Karan writes small checks as well. He demonstrates the value add and writes a small check. I can invest whatever I want in a company. I don't do 1 lakh checks, but I can invest 1 lakh if I like. You demonstrate the value add, they'll take your money. Yes, they may not put you on the cap table with a 1 lakh rupee check, and that's fine. They find a way to get you in through an RUP, but that's okay.
Got it. So if it's a mutually win-win situation, you might be able to get even with a tiny check.
Abhijit, see, the fundamentals have to be correct, right? So first, as Arjun said, like only look at 10% of your liquid capital, right? That, you can kind of invest in. If that amount is, let's say 50 lakhs, then don't go very heavy on, like at least in my experience, don't go very heavy on 10 companies and invest 5 lakh in each companies. Maybe, do about 25 companies, because the more investments you will do, the more you will learn about the industry, right? And our nature is that we start very heavy, like we start very fast and then essentially slow down. But it should be the other way around, like maybe you start slow, you invest in 4 or 5 companies, invest smaller amounts, you learn what is working, you build your own thesis, you build your own network, and then essentially, you start investing more, right? So I think initially, like invest smaller amounts, invest in more number of companies, you'll get to learn, about more, like more than your capital, it'll also be intellectual simulation, right? So you'll get to learn all of that, and then I think as you grow, like you'll develop your value, you'll develop your expertise, then you kind of start investing more.
Makes sense. Thank you, guys.
Great. Guys, any other questions you may have? Arjun, we also, since a lot of us have joined on Sunday, like once we're maybe done with the session, would love to, for you to share, maybe something that you are investing in right now, which, for the community that, if they're looking at investing, that, they can start with something that you have evaluated.
Now, so I met a company through Karan, which is part of the Accelerate cohort called J. The founder's name is Jenny. She's building in the women's apparel space, workwear for women. Great background. I think if I remember correctly, she used to work at Avendus in the
board deal. The first.
Sorry?
She did the first board deal.
Yeah, so like strong financial services background, great rigor of work, very ambitious founder. I spoke to her the first time like 1.5 months ago and told her like, get the right people to wear your clothes. And in the last month and a half, she's had like very powerful women wear her clothes and talk about it publicly, which was an idea I gave, but kudos to her for going and implementing it. I think fashion is an exciting space, which can build very profitable D2C brands. And the founder was very strong, and the kind of product that she's giving wasn't really available with many other people. So I really liked it. I think I'm going to put a small check in this business. I'm speaking to her again tomorrow. Yeah.
Amazing. No, thank you for the shout out. Great. I think Arjun, if we have no other questions, maybe you can drop off. I'll just take 5 minutes from the group, and I'll just talk about Accelerate and what we are building in a Super Angels community.
Thank you guys. Lovely Sunday. Good to see all of you, and hope to be in touch with all of you. Kashish, thank you for writing to me on LinkedIn already. I've just replied to you, and catch you guys very soon.
Yes, pleasure. Thank you, Arjun.
Thanks.
Guys, I'll quickly just talk about Accelerate and what we're trying to build. So maybe I'll just share my screen as well, and I present something. Is this visible?
It is.
Great. Guys, so at my name is Karan. I lead marketing for Meta in India, essentially Instagram and Facebook, and I run Accelerate as a passion project. Essentially, with 2 goals. One essentially is helping early stage founders build large companies. So I run a 100-day accelerator program, which is backed by some of India's top founders and investors like Arjun, right? And essentially help a lot of early stage founders with their GTM, partnerships, fundraise. And then essentially I am building this community of super angels, right? So like I started investing a couple of years ago. I've done about 45 plus investments, right? So essentially, so building a community of super angels like yourselves with a goal to democratize angel investing, right? So essentially, and make it more inclusive and, maybe increase your deal flow, right? So essentially, these are the founding partners of Accelerate. There's Apoorv, who heads startup and VC at Google in India, one of India's best investors, 200 plus companies. He's been my mentor for the last 14 years. Best-selling author. He's like, I think 40 plus exits, multiple unicorns and unicorns in his portfolio. Arun, he runs Capinity, which is again an early stage growth fund, and he also runs Talent Gen, various place more than 7,000 plus executives in leadership positions. So again, very strong network in the community. And of course, there's me, right? Like our notable investments include Innovate, Stage, RateGain, BlueSmart, Zip Electric, Mokobara, Shiros, Lucidius, Inc. 42, Assembly, Petal, and many more. And like for example, in my case, I had 11 companies on Shark Tank last year, right? So essentially, built this knack of identifying founders early and kind of writing their first check. Again, we're supported by some of the best people in India's ecosystem. Some of those that Arjun mentioned, like Mohit and Malika, Chakri from Country Delight, Ankit from he was founder of Insurance Dekho, Brijesh serves and the IPO company called India Mart, Neeraj Bhargav, who was the first investor in Make My Trip, Akshay was the founder of Ship Rocket, and many, many more. You can kind of go through it on our website. Tushar, who runs Blue Smart, right? And I mean, like from our cohort, like these are some companies that are part of our cohort right now. Interesting, like for example, Leah Clothing Company is a company which does about 8 crores a year in revenue. They've been a part of the cohort, and they also came on Shark Tank this year, where they kind of got a 4 shark deal. So we've been one of the earliest investors, right? So sitting at about a 15x there. There's Tractor Factory doing about 12 crores. FitFeast is building a protein first brand right now, and essentially we're helping them raise right now. So we're investing 25 lakhs here. So we're looking at putting in a small check. You can look at FitFeast. J, which Arjun talked about, would be they're also raising. They're building the raiment for women in India. So again, interesting. Nitara, which is building the Bath and Body Works for India. So essentially, trying to identify companies early, helping them kind of grow, and then helping them.
Karan,
raise
your
it.
screen is stuck if you're speaking.
Oh, where can you see the screen? Is this moving
Now
now?
we can. We were on the first slide actually. All
Ah,
three.
oh, thanks for letting me know. So so these are our founding partners again, Arjun, Tarun, Apurv, Tarun, and me, and I'll maybe share this post the call as well. These are some of our visiting partners again, as shared, supported by some of India's best startup founders and investors, right? These are some of the companies that we have backed early and we're supporting, right? And like I just like to talk about the Super Angels program, right? So our goal is that we're democratizing angel investing and making it very inclusive and community led, right? So how we're doing this? Number one, we give you an opportunity to learn from the best. So like we've been having these mentor master classes every weekend. So you get to learn from one mentor who's an active angel investor, large VC every week. You get to invest in the best. So, we kind of share weekly pitches with some of India's best startups that we are investing in. And then we kind of, we have an exclusive WhatsApp group. We do a lot of offline events where you kind of learn from top CXOs and startup founders, right? And, we partner with almost every major, company in the startup ecosystem, whether it's legal, whether it's CA, whether it's content, creators, packaging, distribution, marketing, tech, right? To kind of enable our portfolio companies to grow. I mean, like, and you can, I run a podcast as well on Instagram, YouTube. You can, with some of India's top unicorn founders, you can see that as well, right? So essentially, these are my coordinates. Happy to have you guys as part of the Angel, Super Angels program. It's a very inclusive community. We charge 2,000 rupees a year for people to be a part of the community, and the reason for this is very simple, so that like we only have very, very high interest applications. And I mean, like, it's not a money making initiative for me. It's, I mean, just that to control the kind of quality of people that we have. Again, the community has all the top investors, CXOs, operators like Arjun himself, right? So and this is where we kind of share the master classes, and we share weekly pitches with startups. So if you're interested, do let me know. Ping me on my email ID. You can ping me on WhatsApp. My number is here, and happy to kind of collaborate with you, and happy to kind of be a part of your angel investing journey. If you have any questions, kind of happy to answer that as well.
How does the like you said 2,000 rupees a year? How does the fees work? Like, is there a transaction fee and there is a carry?
Yeah. So Viraj, right now we're not charging any transaction fee or any carry, right? Again, as we say that it's not a money making initiative. So essentially, like normally, in any deal, like like if any fund would pass you a deal, they would charge a 20% fee plus carry. That's the traditional model. We don't charge any fee. We don't charge any carry. The minimum investment amount in any accelerate company is 50,000 rupees, right? So the idea is that you can start very small. The maximum amount is 10 lakh rupees, right? In any company. So you can start very small. Even if you have a capital, let's say of 5 lakh rupees, you can invest in 10 companies. And essentially with those 10 companies also, my recommendation is that you meet 50 companies. And invest 10, right? Like even if you're investing 10 companies a year, invest like, it's the only investment that you would make in a year, right? So again, be very selective, but start with small amounts. That's what I have done. I've done 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupee check sizes as well. And like I've invested in some of India's hottest companies, because I've been able to build my value proposition. So that's something that you can do as well. But for us, there's no fee, there's no carry involved.
But by the companies you mentioned on the deck, all they were part of the accelerator, or some of your.
So they're all right. So that they from accelerator we like only do about 15 to 20 companies a year, right? But as part of the accelerate program, you will see 50, 60, 100 companies a year, right? So we support all types of founders, some which are part of a cohort and some which are essentially also come through our networks, like maybe Arjun would suggest, like last week Apoorv had suggested something. Before that we had Rajesh Soni, he had suggested something. So like it comes from our community. Wherever we feel that we have conviction, and essentially where I am personally investing is something that we share.
So even non-cohort deals will come for super.
Yeah.
And the criteria is that at least one of the founder from your fund would have stake in that, right?
Yeah.
Some of the members would be investing, not
Yes.
like nobody's investing and only the investors are investing.
Yeah, correct. So essentially, like for example, we have Fit Feast where we are investing 25 lakhs as a community right now, right? So there Chakri is investing, Apoorv Chamaria is investing, I am investing. Then Matrix DVC is a micro fund of Matrix. They are investing. We Founder Circle is investing. So this company is called Fit Feast. They are building India's largest taste first protein brand. I'll share the details of this company post the call and on an email, and you guys can kind of review it. Then similarly, J is a company which Arjun mentioned, right? So we'll be investing 25 lakhs there. So again, in J, Arjun is investing, Chakri is investing, We Founder Circle is investing, Apoorv is investing. So like every company where we're investing, we kind of share who all are investing, what are their check sizes and all. But and then we also try to do a pitch with the founder. But then it is completely up to you, whether you would like to invest, whether you have conviction in the founder, whether you have conviction on the category.
Yeah. And I just missed your number, the 95583, the fast.
I'll just ping on the chat. Any other questions? Does Accelerate play any role in documentation, structuring of the transaction? Yeah. So Param, we try to kind of partner, with founders who have a lead. So like we are not the lead investors, right? So like for example, FitFeast is doing a 1 crore round. We are only investing 25 lakhs. The larger check is by Matrix, which is larger check is by DVC and WFC, right? So essentially, these funds kind of do their due diligence, and essentially they kind of agree with the founder on the valuation, and essentially on the SHA, and then we partner on that. But essentially, like some things that we kind of take care of while investing are obviously right of first refusal, like ROFR, preemptive rights, which are like very very, very important for investors, right? Non-compete, that non-secondary share sales, right? So like those are terms which we make sure that we have, but like we kind of go on the same terms which the lead investor is investing in. And also as a philosophy, we don't invest in companies which have more than a $2 to $3 million valuation, right? So like the upper limit for us is a 20 crore valuation, because as like we kind of come in at a very, very initial stage when companies are doing a pre-seed seed round, like they have early traction, as Arjun mentioned, right? So we kind of come at a very early stage, so the valuation is low, and if there's an exit opportunity, then at least we can make a good exit. So you would not see us investing in companies which have a 60, 70, 80 crore valuation, which are very hot. That's not personally our philosophy. We like to come in early, and we kind at a very, very early valuation.
How does the structuring work? So because you're taking a small check size, so like is it through some AIF route or?
So we have partnered with this company called Real Time Angel Fund. So this is a SEBI regulated tech platform, essentially, which is designed for angel investors like us to kind of invest small check sizes as well. So how it works is that once, let's say I'll share a fit fees deal with you. If you guys are interested, you can, first you have to register on their platform. You have to do your KYC. You have to update your Aadhaar. You have to update your PAN cards and all. Then there is a KYC that happens, by SEBI on the back end. You get a notification 24 to 48 hours later that your KYC has been approved. Once your KYC has been approved, then essentially you sign the contribution agreement. We share the deal with you. You can decide what amount you want to invest. It could 50K, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, whatever amount you're keen on. And then essentially you can commit, and once the entire 25 lakh has been collated, when we do a call for money, then you have to transfer the money, to the platform, in the next 7 to 10 days. So essentially, as an angel, you will not come on the cap table. Accelerate will come on the cap table, but but you will be part of the Accelerate syndicate. You will get unit statements of your investment, and on the tech platform, you can also track the IRR, the growth. You can keep, and we'll also create a WhatsApp group with every founder that you're investing in, so that the founder kind of shares a monthly MIS with you, and you can kind of connect with the founder as well on updates.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. If no other questions, thank you so much everyone for joining in. Lovely Sunday, and you have my coordinates, have my details. Happy to kind of collaborate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Karan. Bye bye.
Thanks, Karan. You too.
Yeah, thanks, Kaushal. Yeah, Abhishek, just to answer your question, we'll take an exit when Accelerate does, right? So essentially, all of us will, because we're a part of a syndicate, we'll exit together, right? And essentially, our philosophy is that we don't look at like a 100x exit, because it's hard-earned money. Even if you're getting like a 10x, 15x exit, whenever that option is available, we kind of try to take it. Great. Thank you, Swabi. Take care.
Just parting question, of course, you've shared about the good ones and the good exits. How many of has been like write-offs so far?
Yeah, Virat. So, again, my journey has been very, recent. So I've been investing for 2 years, right? So, if I were to talk about Apoorv, who's one of our founding partners and leaders at Accelerate, he has 200 plus investments and 40 plus exits, right? So he has one of the most successful portfolios in the country, right? I think he would have less than 10 to 15% write-offs, right? Hello?
Apurva.
Apoorv Chamaria, yeah. And again, do feel free to connect with him on LinkedIn. Happy to share his coordinates as well. But the general rule of thumb is, in investing, right? Agar aap invest kar rahe ho, so what will happen is that first 5 to 7 years, all the bad companies, which are bad investments, or which are lemons, and they will die down. Right? So the first 5 to 7 years, all those companies will shut down. That could be as high as 60-65% of your portfolio. You should think of the worst and then look at the best case opportunity, right? So that could be 60-65% of your portfolio. So all of those companies are zero. 35% companies remain. Out of those 35% companies, 15%, 20%, let's say you had invested in 100 companies, so 35 remain. 15, 20 companies might give you like a 4-5x exit. 5 companies might give you like a 10x exit, and 5 companies might give you like a 20x, 50x, 100x exit, right? So that's how you kind of I think what Param also mentioned here, right? So maybe look at 70, just the worst case scenario, 70% of your companies, I think 30% of investments will go bust is low. When I invest, I try to think of 70% of my investments will go bad. Though that has not happened, but maybe that's my philosophy. And then the 30% will kind of give me overall like a 15 to 20x return, which will average out my returns to 4 to 5x.
Just I wanted to understand from so far Accelerate how many, because you asked this even to the angel networks, that how many has been write-offs.
Yeah. So abhi tak, Viraj, none have been write-offs, because we've been very early, right? In my journey, over the last 3 years, right? Just to give you an example, say Petal is one company where Arjun and I invested at a 1 crore valuation. They are now at 100. They are raising the now next round at 125 crore valuation. So we are at 125x right now.
So you invested at 1 CR, but you didn't invest along with Titan.
No, so me and Arjun, we did earlier. We did the first round. So because
Even before Titan,
sorry,
even before Titan Capital.
yeah.
Great.
So we were the first checks in Petal, and then they raised a round from Titan and Anicut Capital. Then they raised on Shark Tank India, and now
Right.
they're raising at a 4x valuation. So
From where?
another company I'll give an example of is Leah Clothing Company.
No, just like from where they are raising right now.
I won't be able to share that, Viraj, because that's
Okay.
still going on. But
Okay.
happy to kind of connect on one on that.
Yeah, sure.
Like another example I'll give you is a company called Leah Clothing Company. So they are part of my Accelerate current cohort. They came on Shark Tank. They raised got my funding from 4 sharks on Shark Tank at a 30 crore valuation. I invested a 1 crore valuation there, so it's already 30x. Like multiple other companies. I invested in a company called Neuranix Labs, which does AI based blood testing. So essentially, like all the pathology labs, which do CBC tests, they require huge samples of blood, but they've been able to build an AI powered microscope which kind of which requires a drop of blood, and can do a complete CBC with 95% clinical accuracy. So I invested at their R&D stage. Currently, they've got clinical trials approval, and they've got now they're in the process of their research trials, following which they'll get the final go live trials, right? So essentially, they're at a 7x of where I invested in, and if they finally get the go live trials, they can. I mean, it could be like a 50 to 100x bagger as well, right? So
Like, sorry, I got some like confusion. I thought it is just consumer brands you are going to suggest. It's both consumer and non-consumer.
yeah, it's across. So at Accelerate, we do consumer internet and enablers like ad tech, inventory management, influencer management. So companies which enable consumer brands. So this is what we do at Accelerate as a part of our cohort. Like these are companies who we help support because all of us come from a consumer background. But the deal flow that you will see will be Accelerate companies plus other companies as well, right? So essentially, and those are companies across fintech, health tech, edtech, AI, right? Like whichever companies which we feel like ticks our boxes in terms of a good entry valuation, great founders, good market, some leverage and right to win.
And just one last, this 2000 is not a commitment to commit to any company, right? Like you can even have like, there is no such commitment, like you have to do five.
Yeah, there is no commitment. Like it's just a part. It's just for you to be a part of the community.
Yeah. Thank you.
Then you might not choose to invest if you feel like it.
Would be happy to join.
I'll share the details if you have my number so we can connect.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Shravan. Thanks, Param. Thanks, Chetsi. Thanks, Avi. Have a good day.